Did you know that your blood test for magnesium can come back completely normal, yet your body might still be dangerously deficient? This is one of the biggest traps in modern medicine, and nearly half of Americans are unknowingly falling into it. That's right, 50%. You could be walking around with fatigue, restless sleep, brain fog, maybe even high blood pressure or a fluttering heart, and not realize that the root cause is something as simple and overlooked as magnesium. Now, most people think insomnia comes from stress, aging, or maybe just bad sleep habits. Doctors hand out sleep aids. The internet recommends melatonin. Your neighbor might tell you to wind down with a glass of wine, but very few people are talking about magnesium. And the few who are, they're often recommending the wrong type taken at the wrong time of day, which means your body doesn't absorb it. In fact, in many cases, it simply passes right through your system and turns into nothing more than an expensive laxative. Today, I'm going to walk you through 8 powerful truths about magnesium, truths that could completely transform the way you sleep, how your body heals, and even how your heart performs. This isn't just about sleep. Magnesium quietly supports more than 300 essential functions in your body, and when you don't have enough of it, the effects ripple out in ways most people never connect. So here's what I want you to do. Stick with me until the end of this video, because what I'm about to share can change everything for you. If you've been struggling with restless nights, low energy, strange aches and pains, or if you're just trying to feel like yourself again, this might be the missing piece. And while you're here, let me know in the comments, where are you watching from? I love seeing where this community is tuning in. Whether you're in Boston or Bakersfield, I'm glad you're here. Now, let's take a closer look at what's really going on when your body starts whispering that it's running low on this vital mineral. I promise you won't see your magnesium the same way again. A few years ago, something happened to my neighbor that completely changed the way I think about health. He was 52, one of the healthiest people I knew. Every morning, like clockwork, he'd run 2 miles before heading off to work. He ate clean, watched his sodium, didn't smoke, stayed active. The kind of guy you'd look at and think, he's doing everything right. One weekend, he went hiking with a small group out in Yosemite. It was supposed to be a relaxing escape, just a few hours with nature. But halfway through the trail, he suddenly stopped and clutched his chest. He couldn't breathe. He said it felt like something was squeezing his chest from the inside. There was a nurse in the group who immediately recognized the signs of a heart attack. She had aspirin in her backpack, gave it to him on the spot, and they rushed him down the trail and straight to a hospital. That aspirin likely saved his life. What shocked me most is that only about 10% of people who have heart attacks outside of a hospital survive. He was incredibly lucky. But here's what's more disturbing. This was someone who exercised regularly, avoided junk food, didn't have any of the obvious risk factors, and yet his heart gave out. Why? As it turns out, no one had ever told him that intense daily workouts can burn through your body's magnesium stores at a staggering rate. Every time he laced up his running shoes, his heart was working harder, his muscles were working harder, but his magnesium wasn't being replenished. His heart didn't fail because he was unhealthy. It failed because he was unknowingly running on empty. That story shook me, and it made me realize just how little we talk about the role magnesium plays in keeping the heart safe and steady. It reminded me of something that happened back when I was in medical school. One afternoon, I was out playing soccer with some classmates. We were just kicking the ball around when suddenly my entire calf locked up. I wasn't just sore, I was in agony. My muscle cramped so hard I had to limp off the field. It took me a full week to recover. Not one professor, not one attending physician ever mentioned magnesium. Back then, I didn't even think to ask. I just assumed it was dehydration or overuse. Years later, when my wife and I had our first child, I started feeling that same kind of deep, unexplained fatigue. I was working full-time, pulling night shifts with the baby, and my brain felt like it was running through mud. I was misplacing everything, left my keys in the fridge, put my phone in the microwave. I chalked it up to sleep deprivation. But then I tried supplementing magnesium, and within days, everything started to shift. I could think again. The fog lifted. My body wasn't just tired. It was depleted. And that's the scariest part. How do you know if your body is starving for magnesium if your blood test says everything's normal? Most doctors don't even bring it up. But there's a reason why that test doesn't tell the whole story. Here's something most people never hear from their doctors. When you get a magnesium test at the clinic, that test only measures the magnesium floating around in your blood. And that's less than 1% of the total magnesium in your entire body, according to the National Institutes of Health. So even if your results come back normal, it tells you almost nothing about what's really going on inside your cells, your bones, or your muscles. That false sense of reassurance is what I call the silent trap, and nearly half of Americans are caught in it. Your body is remarkably smart. It knows that if magnesium in your blood drops too low, your heart could go into dangerous rhythm changes or even stop. So, to protect you, your body borrows magnesium from your bones to keep the blood level looking perfect on paper. But every time it does that, your bones lose a little more of their strength. Think of your bones like a retirement fund that you keep dipping into without realizing it. You look fine today, but years later, you discover the account is empty. By the time you reach your 70s or 80s, your bones have become porous, fragile, like a honeycomb inside. A minor stumble or a simple twist can lead to a fracture. That's the hidden pathway from long-term magnesium deficiency to osteoporosis. It's slow, silent, and almost nobody warns you about it. And that's just the beginning. When your body runs low on magnesium for too long, it sets off a chain reaction that can quietly damage your metabolism. Your waistline starts expanding, your blood sugar climbs, and your blood pressure slowly creeps up. This pattern is called metabolic syndrome, and it's one of the earliest warning signs that your cells are struggling to use insulin properly. Without enough magnesium, your body can't process glucose efficiently. Over time, that's how type 2 diabetes takes root. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds over years of hidden depletion. There's another problem most people have never heard of. It's called non-dipping. In a healthy person, blood pressure naturally drops at night when the body is resting. But when magnesium levels are too low, blood vessels can't relax the way they should. The result? Your blood pressure stays high through the night. That constant tension keeps the heart working overtime and triples your risk of having a morning stroke. Every morning, your heart wakes up tired before you even open your eyes. Decades of research have shown how powerful magnesium really is in preventing this. One of the most eye-opening studies was the Cardia study that began in 1985. Researchers followed more than 5,000 young adults ages 18 to 30 for over 30 years. They discovered that those who consistently ate enough magnesium-rich foods didn't just have better blood sugar and blood pressure, they also slept better and had significantly fewer heart problems as they aged. 3 decades of data, and the results were crystal clear. Magnesium wasn't just helping people sleep, it was protecting their hearts, their arteries, and even their longevity. When you start to see how deeply magnesium touches every system in the body, from bone strength to metabolism to cardiovascular health, it's hard not to wonder why more doctors aren't talking about it. The truth is, magnesium deficiency doesn't make headlines because it doesn't scream for attention. It whispers. It shows up as fatigue, as tight muscles, as restless sleep, as high blood pressure that no one can explain. But behind all of that, the body is simply asking for what it's been missing all along. When we talk about sleep, most people think of melatonin, but the truth is, magnesium is the quiet conductor behind the entire symphony of sleep. It participates in over 300 biochemical reactions throughout your body, and many of them directly control how your brain shuts down at night. One of magnesium's most important roles is to activate GABA, a calming neurotransmitter that acts like your brain's off switch. Imagine GABA as the gentle hand that turns down the dimmer lights of your mind, one by one, until everything becomes still and quiet. When your body has enough magnesium, that switch works perfectly. Your brain begins to wind down naturally, thoughts slow, muscles relax, heart rate and blood pressure drift lower. Melatonin begins to rise as the evening deepens. It's your body's signal that it's time to rest, repair, and recover. That's the beauty of magnesium. It doesn't knock you out. It simply restores the rhythm your body was designed to follow. But what happens when you're low on magnesium is the opposite. That off switch for your brain gets jammed. Your mind stays lit up long after you close your eyes. It's like trying to fall asleep in Times Square. Bright lights, noise, motion everywhere, even if your room is dark. You lie in bed, exhausted, yet your thoughts keep racing. You check the clock. Midnight. 1, 2. The later it gets, the more anxious you feel, and the more your body fights against the rest it desperately needs. You wake up feeling as though you didn't sleep at all. Your body is tense, your mood irritable, your energy drained before the day even starts. This is the classic magnesium deficiency cycle of insomnia. The less you sleep, the more your stress hormones rise. The higher your stress, the more magnesium your body burns through. And the more depleted you become, the harder it gets to switch off that racing mind. It's a vicious loop, but the good news is that it's completely reversible. When your magnesium stores are restored, everything feels different. You drift into sleep easily within about 15 minutes without pills or alcohol or that heavy drugged feeling. It's the kind of sleep that feels like sinking into warm water, effortless and natural. You wake up before your alarm feeling refreshed, clear-headed, and calm. No grogginess, no brain fog, no reaching for 3 cups of coffee just to feel human again. One good night of deep, natural sleep powered by magnesium can do more for your body than a week of perfect dieting or a cabinet full of vitamins. That's because sleep isn't just rest, it's repair. During those hours, your brain resets, your hormones rebalance, and your heart heals. Magnesium is the key that unlocks that entire process. When you give your body what it needs, it knows exactly how to take care of you in return. Here's something that might surprise you. About 75% of the foods most Americans eat every single day are quietly robbing the body of magnesium. It's not just that we're not eating enough of it, it's that the modern diet has been stripped of it. Take a look at what's on a typical plate today. That crisp iceberg lettuce sitting inside your fast food burger looks fresh and healthy, but it contains almost no magnesium at all. Compare that to kale, which has nearly 10 times more magnesium, yet how many of us eat kale every day? Then there are pumpkin seeds and chia seeds, 2 of nature's richest magnesium sources, but they're hardly staples in most kitchens. Black beans and red beans are also packed with magnesium, yet many people skip them because they're worried about bloating. Bit by bit, our diets have shifted away from the very foods that keep our cells strong and our hearts calm. The problem runs deeper than just food choices. 75% of all food sold in the United States is now what scientists call ultra-processed. These foods are refined, filtered, and bleached until most of their natural nutrients are gone. That means it's been refined, filtered, bleached, and altered until almost all of its natural nutrients are gone. Magnesium is one of the first casualties of that process. When wheat is refined into white flour, it loses about 85% of its original magnesium. So that soft white bread on your breakfast table might look wholesome, but nutritionally, it's a shadow of what your grandparents ate. According to dietary research, the typical Western diet, heavy in fast food, sugary snacks, refined grains, and processed meats, provides barely half the magnesium your body needs. And that's why nearly half the U.S. population is living with some level of deficiency. The more convenience foods we eat, the higher the risk climbs. It's a modern paradox, surrounded by abundance, yet starving for minerals. And even when we do try to eat better, the deck is stacked against us. The soil that grows our produce today simply doesn't have the same richness it once did. A bowl of spinach in 1950 contained about 3 times as much magnesium as that same bowl today. Industrial farming practices have pushed crops to grow faster and bigger, but not necessarily more nutritious. As a result, even if you're eating a clean, plant-based diet, you may still not be getting enough magnesium from your food alone. Our grandparents could meet their needs from the land. We can't count on that anymore. Add to this the pressures of modern living, constant stress, pollution, long hours under fluorescent lights, too much screen time, even regular exercise, and your magnesium burns away faster than ever. Stress hormones like cortisol drain it, and sweating during workouts flushes it out. Every day, your body spends more magnesium just trying to keep up with the pace of modern life. So even if you think your diet is balanced, the truth is most people today are running a quiet deficit. It's not because they're doing anything wrong, it's because the world we live in has changed. The food we eat has changed, and the demands on our bodies have changed. Understanding that helps you realize one simple but powerful truth. To thrive in today's world, you need to be intentional about magnesium. It's not just a nice to have mineral anymore, it's a necessity for living well in the modern age. Walk down any pharmacy aisle or look online for magnesium supplements and you'll see a dizzying array of choices. Magnesium, oxide, citrate, glycinate, malate, taurate, chloride, orotate. It can feel like alphabet soup. Companies love to claim their version is the best, but the truth is that not all forms of magnesium are created equal. A 2013 study in magnesium research showed that each form of magnesium has a different absorption rate and effect on the body. Choosing the wrong one could mean wasting your time, your money, and never actually fixing the problem you're trying to solve. Let's start with the most common kind, magnesium oxide. It's the cheapest, the one most often found in multivitamins or grocery store shelves, but it's also the least effective. Your body absorbs only about 4% of it. The rest goes straight to your intestines, pulling water along with it and sending you to the bathroom. So if you've ever taken magnesium oxide and wondered why it didn't help your sleep but worked like a laxative, now you know why. You're basically buying expensive toilet paper. Magnesium citrate is a little better. It's magnesium bound to citric acid, which improves absorption. Many biohackers and wellness enthusiasts, including people like Brian Johnson, who spends millions each year optimizing his health, take citrate in the morning. About 200 milligrams can work well to support muscle function and energy. But there's a catch. Because citrate draws water into the intestines, it can loosen your stools, especially if you take it at night. So instead of sleeping peacefully, you might find yourself getting up again and again. It's a good daytime magnesium, but a poor choice for bedtime. Then there's magnesium malate, which combines magnesium with malic acid, a natural component of the energy cycle in your cells. This form is fantastic for mornings because it can give you a mild energy boost and help fight fatigue. But take it in the evening and you may feel too alert to rest. Your body needs magnesium to relax, not to ramp up, so timing really matters here. For sleep, the real star is magnesium glycinate. This form binds magnesium to the amino acid glycine, which itself has a calming effect on the brain. It's gentle on the stomach, easy to absorb, and the least likely to cause diarrhea. Many people who struggle with insomnia or nighttime anxiety find that glycinate helps their bodies unwind naturally, allowing them to fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. It's my top choice when the goal is deep, restorative rest. Magnesium L-threonate is a fascinating one. It's the only form that can easily cross the blood-brain barrier, which means it can reach the brain directly. Studies suggest it might help with memory and cognitive function, especially as we age. But because it carries a very low amount of actual magnesium per capsule, you'd have to take a lot to raise your overall magnesium levels. It's great for brain health, but not practical for general supplementation. Hospitals often use magnesium chloride in IV form for patients who are dangerously deficient. Taken orally, it's well absorbed too, and some people prefer it in liquid form. Magnesium sulfate, also known as Epsom salt, is something you've probably soaked in after a long workout. It's wonderful for relaxing sore muscles through the skin, but drinking it can have the same laxative effect as magnesium oxide, so it's best used externally, not as a daily supplement. Then there's magnesium taurate, which pairs magnesium with taurine, an amino acid that supports heart rhythm and calms the nervous system. This combination can help reduce palpitations and ease mild anxiety, making it a solid option for people who want cardiovascular and mental balance together. And finally, magnesium orotate, the premium athlete favorite version. It's praised for its support in energy metabolism and heart performance, but it's expensive and in high doses can irritate the liver. So moderation is key. The good news is that for healthy people, taking magnesium daily in reasonable amounts is completely safe. Your kidneys are remarkably efficient at filtering out any excess, so toxicity is extremely rare. But if you have kidney disease or reduced kidney function, that's a different story. Magnesium can build up in the bloodstream to dangerous levels if it's not cleared properly. That's why anyone with kidney issues should talk to their doctor before starting any supplement. By now, you can see why the type of magnesium you choose really matters. Each form behaves differently in your body, and using the wrong one at the wrong time can make all the difference between feeling better and feeling frustrated. If you've found this information helpful so far, type yes in the comments below. Every time you engage, it helps me know this knowledge is reaching people who truly need it, and it keeps me motivated to keep sharing more ways to help you live stronger, longer, and better. There's another layer to this magnesium story that most people never realize. Even if you eat all the right foods and take the right supplement, you might still be losing magnesium every single day without knowing it. And it's not because your body can't hold on to it, it's because so many common medications and habits are quietly draining it away. Let's start with something very common, especially for older adults, diuretics. These are water pills often prescribed for high blood pressure or swelling, names like furosemide or hydrochlorothiazide. They work by helping your body get rid of excess fluid, but here's the problem. They don't just flush out water, they also flush out magnesium through your urine. So every time you take that pill, you're sending a little more magnesium out of your body. For people who've been on diuretics for years, this daily loss adds up. It's one reason why so many people on these medications develop muscle cramps, fatigue, or irregular heartbeats and never connect the dots back to magnesium. Certain antibiotics can also interfere with magnesium in a sneaky way. Drugs like doxycycline, ciprofloxacin, Cipro, and levofloxacin, known as Levaquin, bind to magnesium inside your gut. When that happens, neither the antibiotic nor the magnesium gets absorbed properly. So not only does the medication become less effective, but your body also misses out on the mineral it needs. If you're ever prescribed these antibiotics, the solution is simple but important. Take your magnesium at least 2 to 6 hours apart from the medication so they don't cancel each other out. Then there are acid-blocking medications, the ones people take for heartburn or reflux. Antacids and proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole seem harmless, but long-term use can create serious magnesium deficiencies. Your stomach needs acid to break magnesium free from food, so it can be absorbed in the intestines. When you suppress that acid for months or years, the magnesium in even the healthiest meal can just pass right through your system unused. You think you're protecting your stomach, but in the process, you're starving your cells of magnesium. Processed food adds another layer to the problem. Many baked goods, pancakes, deli meats, and sodas contain phosphate additives to preserve texture and flavor. These inorganic phosphates bind tightly to magnesium in your gut and make it impossible for your body to absorb. So if you drink cola with lunch, you may be neutralizing the magnesium from your salad without realizing it. The same happens with foods that use aluminum-free baking powder, which actually contains large amounts of phosphate. These additives turn magnesium into a form your body can't use, no matter how healthy the rest of your meal looks. Even the foods and drinks we think of as comforting can get in the way. Milk and calcium supplements, when taken together with magnesium, compete for absorption in your intestines. Your body will always prioritize calcium first, leaving magnesium behind. High-fat diets like keto or carnivore can have a similar effect because fats can react with magnesium to form something like soap in your intestines, literally a compound your body can't absorb. And then there's alcohol. A glass of wine at dinner or a nightcap before bed might seem relaxing, but alcohol tells your kidneys to double the rate at which they excrete magnesium. Over time, that habit quietly depletes your reserves, especially if you drink daily. Combine that with poor diet and stress, and your magnesium levels can plummet without any obvious warning. What's even more ironic is that some of the healthiest foods, whole grains and leafy greens, also contain natural compounds that can limit magnesium absorption. These are called phytates and oxalates. They're not harmful, but they bind to magnesium and make it harder for your body to use. The fix is simple. Soak seeds and beans overnight before cooking. That breaks down the phytates and unlocks more magnesium for absorption. Unfortunately, few people know this small but powerful trick. Now imagine how all these small factors pile up in real life. Someone takes a blood pressure pill that flushes out magnesium every morning, washes down lunch with a diet soda that blocks absorption, and ends the day with a glass of milk or wine that either competes with or drains away what's left. None of these habits seem dangerous on their own, but together they create the perfect storm for magnesium deficiency. The body becomes more tired, more anxious, more inflamed, and nobody thinks to trace it back to this quiet mineral slipping away day after day. A lot of people believe a drink before bed helps them fall asleep. Maybe it's a glass of wine to unwind after dinner, or a shot of whiskey to quiet the mind. It's such a common belief that alcohol is sometimes called nature's sleeping pill, but that's one of the most dangerous myths about sleep. Alcohol doesn't help your body rest, it tricks it. It dulls the senses, slows the brain, and makes you drowsy. So yes, you may fall asleep faster, but once you're asleep, alcohol completely disrupts the architecture of your rest. It wipes out your REM sleep during the first half of the night, the stage when your brain processes emotions and stores memories. Then, as your body starts to metabolize the alcohol, the opposite happens. The brain rebounds, waking you up repeatedly, even if you don't remember it in the morning. The result is a night that feels like sleep but leaves you drained, foggy, and irritable the next day. Long term, regular drinking at night doesn't just ruin rest, it starves your brain of vitamins like thiamine, leading in some people to Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, a devastating and permanent form of memory loss. Others reach for something even easier, over-the-counter sleep aids. Medications like Benadryl or Tylenol PM contain antihistamines such as diphenhydramine that make you drowsy. They seem harmless and they work at first, but when taken frequently, they come with a hidden cost. Studies from Harvard and other medical centers have found that long-term use of these anticholinergic drugs, especially over several years, significantly raises the risk of dementia by more than 50% in heavy users. These drugs also linger in your system, making you groggy, slow to react, and unfocused the next day. So while they may give you a few hours of sedation, they rob you of the sharpness, energy, and memory that real sleep provides. Then there are prescription sleeping pills, benzodiazepines like Valium or Xanax, and newer drugs like Ambien or Lunesta are very effective at knocking you out quickly, but they don't produce natural sleep. They sedate the brain rather than restore it. You might fall asleep fast, but you'll often wake up with dizziness, poor concentration, and a heavy mental fog. Over time, they can create dependency, meaning your brain forgets how to fall asleep without them. Stop taking them suddenly, and your insomnia can come back even worse. Perhaps the most underestimated danger of all is untreated sleep apnea, the kind of snoring that's more than just loud. When you stop breathing multiple times during the night, your brain is deprived of oxygen again and again. Those micro-awakenings, sometimes hundreds each night, prevent you from reaching deep, healing sleep. Over time, this oxygen deprivation damages the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain, and increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and cognitive decline. A CPAP machine, though uncomfortable at first, can be life-changing for people with moderate to severe sleep apnea. It keeps the airways open and protects your brain from being starved of oxygen every night. So here's the truth. Each night that you rely on alcohol, sedatives, or quick fixes, your brain is quietly paying a price. The damage builds over time, and much of it cannot be undone. Magnesium isn't a miracle pill. It won't force you to sleep, but it supports the natural pathways that your brain and body are built to use. Instead of sedating yourself into shallow rest, give your body the mineral it needs to find real, restorative sleep on its own. This simple shift can make the difference between waking up exhausted and waking up renewed. Most people think the daily recommended amount of magnesium, the RDA, is the goal to aim for. 420 milligrams for men, 320 for women. But that number was designed decades ago for healthy people living under ideal conditions. It doesn't take into account the way we actually live today, with constant stress, processed foods, pollution, medications, and busy schedules that push our bodies to the limit. Every one of those factors burns through magnesium. So, for most people, getting just the recommended amount is not enough to feel truly well. What your body really needs is not just to survive, it's to thrive. Some people need to pay even closer attention because their bodies lose magnesium faster than average. Those with chronic digestive issues like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, or irritable bowel syndrome often deal with frequent diarrhea, which flushes magnesium right out of the body. People with celiac disease or those who have undergone abdominal radiation for cancer treatment have damaged intestinal linings, meaning they simply can't absorb magnesium efficiently anymore. Diabetics, especially those with type 2 diabetes and kidney complications, also lose more magnesium through their urine. Their kidneys become less able to regulate minerals, and that constant leakage keeps their levels low. Hormonal disorders like overactive parathyroid or aldosterone imbalance can cause the same problem. For women who breastfeed for long periods, magnesium loss can be significant too. A lot of that magnesium is naturally transferred into breast milk to nourish the baby, leaving the mother depleted if she doesn't replenish it. And then there are older adults. As we age, the intestines become less efficient at absorbing magnesium, and bones, our storage bank for this mineral, lose density and holding capacity. On top of that, many seniors take multiple medications, including blood pressure, drugs, acid blockers, and diuretics, all of which further lower magnesium levels. That's why fatigue, muscle cramps, and restless sleep are often dismissed as just aging, when in fact they can be clear signs of chronic magnesium loss. So, how should you start supplementing safely? Begin small. Start with a low dose, around 100 to 200 milligrams of elemental magnesium a day, and increase gradually based on how your body responds. If your stools become loose, that's your body telling you you've gone too far. Adjust down slightly and find the balance that works for you. Always talk with your healthcare provider if you have any medical condition, especially kidney issues, because your body's ability to clear excess magnesium may differ. Timing matters too. Magnesium works best when taken about 2 hours before bedtime, giving it time to absorb and help your nervous system wind down. Take it on an empty stomach or with a light snack. Avoid pairing it with calcium, iron, or dairy products, since calcium and phosphate can compete for absorption and block magnesium uptake. If you're taking multiple supplements, spacing them apart throughout the day makes a big difference. And don't forget food, the foundation of your magnesium intake. Boost your diet with magnesium-rich choices. First, snack on pumpkin seeds or chia seeds. They're among nature's best sources of magnesium. Soak them overnight to make them easier to digest and to reduce phytates that block absorption. Second, add black beans or red beans to your salads or soups. They're versatile, filling, and naturally rich in magnesium. Third, choose real greens like spinach or kale instead of iceberg lettuce, which has little to no nutritional value. For cruciferous vegetables like broccoli or Brussels sprouts, chop them about 10 minutes before cooking. That simple step activates enzymes that release more nutrients, including magnesium. These small, practical habits can elevate your magnesium intake naturally day by day. But here's something important. Don't expect instant results. Magnesium doesn't work like caffeine or a painkiller. It takes time to rebuild what your body has been missing, often for years. Most people notice meaningful improvements in sleep, mood, and muscle function after 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use. Patience is part of the healing process. Stick with it daily, and your body will thank you in ways you can feel, from calmer nights to steadier energy throughout the day. Magnesium isn't just a sleep mineral, it's a foundation for life itself. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought depends on it. It powers over 300 enzymatic reactions, creating energy, regulating blood pressure, balancing blood sugar, and supporting brain health. Without enough magnesium, the body can't function at its best. But when your magnesium is restored, everything works better. Your energy feels more stable, your mind clearer, your sleep deeper, and your heart stronger. Half of Americans are running low on this essential mineral, but the good news is fixing that deficiency doesn't require complicated solutions. It just takes awareness, consistency, and a little magnesium every day. If you've made it this far, you already understand something most people never realize. So many of the struggles we think are just part of getting older: fatigue, restless nights, muscle cramps, foggy mornings aren't inevitable. They're often the quiet signs of a body that's simply running low on magnesium. And that's something you can change. You don't need to accept sleepless nights or low energy as your new normal. When you give your body what it's been missing, it knows exactly how to heal itself. Knowledge really is power. And now that you have it, you can start taking small steps that lead to big changes. I've seen it over and over again. People who couldn't sleep, who felt drained for years, who thought aging meant slowing down. Once they restored their magnesium levels, they rediscovered what real energy feels like. They slept through the night for the first time in years. Their mornings became lighter, their moods steadier, their hearts calmer. The body is an incredible machine, and sometimes all it needs is one missing piece to run the way it's designed to. So, if this video helped you understand your body a little better, do me a favor, share it with someone you care about. You never know who might need to hear this. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss more science-based ways to stay strong, sleep well, and live longer. Every time you share this knowledge, you're helping someone else take back control of their health, just like you're doing right now. Before you go, one last reminder: talk with your doctor, especially if you have kidney problems or are taking any medications, before you start supplementing. Everyone's body is different, and the best health decisions are the informed ones. Tonight, take that first small step, pour yourself a glass of water, take your magnesium about 2 hours before bed, and let your body do what it's been waiting to do: rest, repair, and restore. You might be amazed at how different tomorrow feels. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, and I'll see you in the next video.